Hello, Interblops. I'm here once again with another episode of I Played a Thing, Alone in the Dark 2. I am a little off my feet today, and I'm not sure my performance will be entirely up to scratch, but it is a very convenient day to sit down and get some work done on the old LP, so I just hope you'll accept my apology if my playing is even worse than usual. But hopefully, we'll be able to make it through. Alone in the Dark isn't a super demanding game most of the time. It's got its dicey combats, but that's more a matter of jank than of actual legitimate challenge, so we will just do the best we can. Now, last time when we left off, I had just defeated Frederick DeWitt with possibly the highest capacity Derringer on Earth, as was pointed out by some folks on the Discord. And there was a book and another half of a parchment that I could not for the life of me seem to find. I did get that sorted out, and it's kind of weird the way I have to deal with that, because it's not at all hard to find, and in fact I rubbed up against the correct spot, like, more than once, I think. But it just didn't register for whatever reason. I guess I didn't just rub up against it quite correctly. But that's okay, I know where I'm doing it now, and we should be able to do it. And longtime friend of the show, Nolden, suggested that I should hang on to the whiskey just for celebratory purposes later, so I might as well do that. It's not like I'm going to get myself confused with that in my inventory. Now, what I was looking for with respect to that book and parchment is right over here. You can see them kind of sticking out from the table here, or from the bookshelf, I should say. You just have to kind of rub right up into them, I guess, without doing it kind of side angle like I did before. The important thing is, a little late, we did get the things. And I believe it is a pretty good book, too, so let's go right ahead and make good use of that.
Crew muster for the three-master Flying Dutchman. Turn to freebooting December 25 of the year of our Lord 1724.
Oh, you know me, I am always up for a good crew muster, and if I'm not mistaken, this is actually a triple crew muster, the only one of its like in the game, so yay for that.
Son of a baron, and born of a chambermaid, Frederick DeWitt was brought up strictly. At the death of his tutor, he was free to study the alchemistic art. Clever with his fingers, he spent much time at the gaming table, ruining Redmond Barry at the game of piquet. An adventure with the Countess of O forced him to join the Navy. He soon deserted his ship. His skill with cards gained him a reputation in Barbados, where he met One-Eyed Jack.
I do so enjoy these. Son of a baron and born of a chambermaid. The highs and the lows. Also, an adventure with the Countess of O. I like the way they kind of censored that for the benefits of those in society, I suppose. What do you think? The Countess of O have quite an O-face?
Their one and only game resulted in the massacre of Terra Nova. A friendship was born. DeWitt served Jack as both spy and poisoner, and served well. The Princess Isabelita Negroni called him the brightest star of my nights. Joined in 1715 as pharmacist.
Wow, made that kind of impression on a princess, too. Also, their one and only game resulted in the massacre of Terra Nova. That must have been one hell of a game, and the fact that they could have one of their gambling sessions turn into a massacre and come through it as friends, wow. Some of these stories you can only fill in with your imagination, and it's almost a pity, but then again, that makes them all the more tantalizing now, doesn't it?
Mr. I may have another name. Who knows? Born at New Amgar and transported to Haiti, his life was chaos until he met Elizabeth Jarrett. Initiated into voodoo, he became the Hunsi for the new priestess after losing his senses for 14 days and nights. His remarkable eyesight earned him the post of lookout following the attack of 25 December. Accompanied by his mates, the Look Boys, he likes to dance for the crew on calm days.
Noamgar is a rural area in Mauritania, so this actually means we've got someone on One-Eyed Jack's crew who is not an Irishman, Mr. I being from Africa. And another reference to that Elizabeth Jarrett, who we know to be the arm of the evil powers. Must be an important person. Also, is it just me, or does One-Eyed Jack's crew just not seem to be able to stay out of trouble around Christmas?
In fighting, his way with a harpoon is fearful to behold. The pillage of San Cristobal and the sacking of the governor's palace were examples of his thirst for killing. Who can have forgotten how he harpooned the rector, Joao de la Cruz, from 30 feet? Joined as lookout on 25 December, 1724.
The voice actor was very impressed with that 30-foot harpoon job, and understandably so. Harpooning a whale at a significant distance is one thing, harpooning a man at a significant distance is something else entirely. Also, thinking about this, I think this might actually be a 4-part crew muster. If so, all the better.
Ask me to name a man among men, and I'll say Black Hat. A bright lad, Alistair Fane began his life of crime at the age of 8. To free his father, he placed a toy bear stuffed with dynamite at the gates of Killarney jail. 9 men died. Soft-hearted to a fault, he kept Captain Dixon's black hat and stitched blades into its rim.
Ah, the origin of the legendary Black Hat that cut the rope and sent one arm to his doom. Much like Frederick DeWitt, Alistair Fane, Black Hat, is someone that we have already met and dealt with. He was at the top of the stairs up to the floor that we most recently arrived on, the guy with the 2 pistols who would like to juggle them every now and then.
He then stowed away and ended up in Trinidad, where he took an interest in firearms and became an expert manhunter. One-Eyed Jack was sure to learn of such a man. Black Hat, marksman.
Black Hat has a simple story, but he's a simple guy.
Bubble Blade is the youngest of a family of armorers of Toledo. Trained from birth to handle a sword, he became a duelist of note. At the Prado, he gutted the young viceroy. His famous escape from Santa Sangre is still spoken of in awe. One-Eyed Jack recruited him in Mexico, persuading him to say farewell to his 6 magnificent companions in arms. Tales of his famous secret stroke, the Royal Pardon, soon spread far and wide.
Spoiler, I don't think we ever really get to see what the Royal Pardon is, but then this is all really flavor. Also, the youngest of a family of armorers from Toledo. I don't think they mean Ohio, so we've got another member of One-Eyed Jack's crew who is not a son of Aaron. Also, he said farewell to his 6 magnificent companions in arms, did he? Is that a Magnificent 7 reference?
His 2-hour fight with Lieutenant Briggs will go down in the history of freebooting. Bubble Blade, 2nd Lieutenant.
And, like Mr. I, this is someone we have not met yet. Bubble Blade, we will find, is a bit of an acrobat. He's a very swift and agile kind of guy, which I think is where his name is supposed to come from, and kind of a float like a bubble, sting like a bee kind of a deal. But to me, it just sounds like a really, really ineffective sword. And with that, we are finally done with this super extended edition of the Crew Muster of the Flying Dutchman. Now then, we also had 2 pieces of parchment. Hopefully there are only 2 such pieces of parchment, and we can now put them together and give them a proper read. Okay, the parchment's all in one piece. Excellent.
Chess and magic. If the White Queen seeks the throne, the king must empower her. May the amulet laid in the center of the sign open the doorway to space. That is the key to the royal gambit. Translator's note. This Gaelic poem might have helped Crowley to defeat Tartakover, the man who fed the devil in the box with gold.
I took a very short investigation into this document, and the only thing that I could really find out about is that Crowley is Aleister Crowley. Tartakover I couldn't really tell you about, and the man who fed the devil in the box with gold is just baffling to me. I don't know if that's some kind of chess reference. I'm not really up on my chess terminology, or if it's a reference to some story, or what the hell it is, but the important thing here is that if the queen seeks the throne, the king must empower her, and amulets open the doorway to space, etc., etc. So, we are going to be taking the role of the king, and we must empower a queen. And if you're going to empower a queen, how are you going to do that? Well, you put her on the throne for one, but also you put a crown on her. And that is why we have that crown from the statue with the homing trident from a way back. And where did we see a queen? Oh, right over here in the voodoo room, we saw the bust of a queen right over here. And so we put on this slightly goofy-looking crown right on top of her royal bonce. But we will have to find the right location for that, I guess. Alone in the Dark 2 tends to be a little fiddlier about being in exactly the right place to use an item compared to the first one, I think. That's just the impression I've got, anyway. There we go. Right on the noggin. What exactly is going on with her head? Does she have a beehive? It's a little hard to tell. Anywho, now that we have put the crown on the queen, we can acquire the amulet opening the door to space. That activates the teleporter, or the altar in the voodoo room, which is a teleporter, and we find ourselves teleported. In the console versions, there is an FMV there, but it is a short FMV, a very minor one, not one of the two silly ones I've talked about before. All it does is show some spacey twinkles as you get teleported around. And here we have some sort of message.
Dear Mr. Jack, sorry, stop. We have no more red balls for the tree, stop. Hope you got the case of champagne. Again, sorry, stop. Hector Coward, Xmas Acme Limited.
So, sending a letter to apologize for being out of stock of Christmas ornaments, I suppose, is understandable enough, although it's an unusually personal touch from a corporation. Now, the case of champagne, was that just a general act of goodwill, or was that part of the apology? If so, I can only assume Mr. Coward is really scared shitless of One-Eyed Jack, which is understandable, and rather in keeping with his name. Well, again, it's understandable, so I suppose it's not really that cowardly of him, now is it? There are a few things now that I don't need, so I'm going to quickly unburden myself just to make life a little simpler. You might think that getting its own document means the red ball for the Christmas tree is a significant thing, and you'd be right. This one isn't actually named after one of the characters, because it has 4 characters, it's just named after the whole Flying Dutchman. How about that? Okay. So I believe we're going to have a combat coming up, and like many combats in this game, it's a little fiddly and a little risky, which could practically be the byline for this game. Alone in the Dark 2, combats that are kinda fiddly and kinda risky. The console versions were actually released depending on region as Alone in the Dark 2 One-Eyed Jack's Revenge, or Alone in the Dark 2 Jack is Back. both of which are a little weird to me because they imply that One-Eyed Jack might have been significant in the first game, which in no way was he. He didn't exist yet. Ooh, booze. Gimme. A little top up before the combat. That makes me happy. That's gonna put us at a lovely 76. That is what I like to see. But since I do believe there is a combat imminent, I'm gonna open this door, and then I'm going to drop me a save. It's not like we've done all that much, but I want to be on the safe side here. Now, if I hurry, fairly quickly I can get myself a fresh Thompson. A Tommy gun and a loading clip, that's what we want. Now I'm going to position myself into a corner so it's a little easier for me to aim. So we have a loading clip, a Thompson, and another loading clip, so that's good. I'm going to try this without the armor and save the bulletproof vest for just a little bit longer. If I have trouble, I can reload and put it on, but I want to see if I can do this without it. The important thing for the immediate is that we now have a Thompson that is not jammed. That's why I wanted to make sure I put down the other Thompson earlier so I don't get them mixed up in the heat of combat. This acrobatic fella right here is Bubba Blade. And he has a friend, as you can see. He's also trying to kick the crap out of me. I'm not entirely sure I'm hitting him at all. Actually, you know what? I'm not sure I was hitting him at all there, so I'm just going to reload and try that again. Yes, as you saw, he has a friend. Friend having a riot gun, which is not the worst thing to face, but not the greatest either. Okay, I think I saw him wince a little bit there. We do want to see that. I definitely made his buddy wince there. Oh, we need a reload. Buddy is down. That's good. We are taking some hits from the martial arts. And Bubba Blade also now down. Hallelujah. And for our troubles, we get a grenade. Ooh, I like those. And more booze. That'll help with the health we just lost. And did the big guy drop something over here? Ah, he did, a key. Very good. That went, I think, reasonably okay. Let's see how my health is. Ooh, I actually lost quite a bit. But that's okay, we got booze. That really could have gone worse. Maybe it would have been better to put the armor on, but I'm not entirely convinced of that. Anyway, we're now up to 83, which is better than we were before, so I'm going to go ahead and update my save. So, Bubba Blade just using some martial arts on us. Pretty gutsy when he's known for his skill with the sword. And so, we got a little cluttered storage room here, it looks like. Not a whole lot of value, it doesn't appear, mostly junk. Especially since we no longer have a search command, and we know if we don't see it right away, it's probably not there to be had. But what to my wondering eye should appear but Jack in the Dark? Yep, looking just like he did in the game with the same title. A One-Eyed Jack version on the classic Jack in the Box. Well, Jack in the Dark, I don't know how you'd really figure this out except by sheer trial and error, is coin-operated in this game. And for an ancient pirate, what are we going to use but an ancient doubloon? Well, he seems to have approved of the doubloon and dropped something for us. A pom-pom. Or a pom-pom if you prefer. I don't know if that's more the French or European typical spelling. I'm used to pom-pom, but pom-pom I have seen in a few places. Now let's see, where exactly do I go from here? I don't rightly recall immediately. Let me just make sure I don't miss any objects lying around. How much Thompson do I still have? 27, quite a bit. So it looks like there may just be that one last door remaining. Yeah, I think that's the case, so that's where we're gonna have to go. Oh shit, clown. It's the clown that killed Stryker. Or at least the clown that rendered, Stryker unconscious. Well, he doesn't look like a terribly smart clown, so all we really need to do is distract him. And in order to distract him, all we really need to do is throw the pom-pom, which is one of the rare items in this game that we actually can throw. Throw him into the next room. Okay, we have to position Carnby appropriately for it, or else he won't see any point in doing so. There we go. And with that, we just get out of Mr. Clown's way. You see that the other room is full of snakes, which are now distracted by the pom-pom as well. Clown collapses among the snakes, goes up in smoke. I don't know if he was bitten to death or if he just exhausted his programming or what exactly. But the important thing is he's out of our hair. And here we can see the bed where Grace Saunders was being held, where our poor mentor either met his end or at least was rendered unconscious, in order for them to finish him off later. The snakes, I believe, will be rendered fascinated eternally by the pom-pom, so we have nothing to worry about from them again. Oh, we got a straggler. Usually they all wander over into the corner right away, but one of them got caught up on something, I guess. Anywho, what we need to now do is go down the chimney as Santa Claus, but there's something we'll want to send down the chimney first. I think there might be a funny message if we try using it somewhere else first, so let me give that a try and see if I get the message that I think I will. There we go. I don't see why I should blow everything up. What kind of attitude is that, Carnby? You always want to blow everything up. Anywho, this is a little tricky. We have to move in front of the chimney just right to throw the grenade down without actually jumping down ourselves. If we jump down the chimney, we're gonna have to take out 5 dudes, which is not the most desirable situation. What we want to do is throw the grenade down first, which will take out 2 dudes, leaving us to deal with 3, which is still suboptimal, but it's a big improvement on 5. So let me get close. Hopefully that'll be close enough. Let's try. Ho, ho, ho. Merry motherfucking Christmas. Now Santa's gonna get his other present ready, and what's gonna happen is I'm gonna go down the chimney, I'm gonna make a break for another room, and actually, you know what, melee might even be better. Let me get the... Believe it or not, I think I might want range more than anything else, and I think the frying pan might have the most range. So I'm going to run into another room, I'm gonna try and bottleneck them, and then just whack them all to death with the frying pan as they come through the door. Let's see how it goes. Hello, gentlemen. Merry Christmas. Actually, this is where I wanted to put the armor on, but I completely forgot to do it. Hopefully that won't bite me. Let's get out of here as quickly as we can. Get into the main room here. And this is where I'm going to try and bottleneck them. He seems to be having a little trouble hitting me at this range, and that is fine by me. Okay, that's one guy down. And another one starting to take hits. Oh, they are bottlenecked but good. I like it. They seem to be bottlenecked so good I can't hit them. Maybe if I turn a little. There we go. That's better. That's another down. Oh my god, did I take out the 3 dudes without taking a single hit? Did that actually happen? Holy fuck, I actually did. I'm actually rather thrilled. That does not normally happen. I'm accustomed to taking some damage there. A lot of times, even if I'm wearing the bulletproof vest, I'll take a few hits when I get backed into a corner or something and take damage. But that really could not have gone any better. It really couldn't have. I didn't even use a single shot. Okay. So now we can go back through the kitchen, into the door that was previously death, but now that we have completely cleared out. And we can find an item in here that we have been needing for a little while. Ah, there's all our ashes and soot from when we tumbled down the chimney. I think at this point, with the cookie gone, and everything else we needed to do with the Santa suit, actually I think keeping away from Cookie is the only thing we strictly needed the Santa suit for. We could really put it away at this point and go back to being regular Carnaby, but until the game actually forces us to, which it will eventually do, I just don't see any reason. I like going around as jolly old St. Nick. I think this might be another useless bathroom. Maybe a bathroom door that doesn't even work. That appears to be the case. Oh, nope, I can run in. That's peculiar. Anyway, the one thing that we came in here for, actually what that whole rigmarole was all about, was to pick up that red ball, such as was discussed in the letter from Mr. Hector Coward. I don't think there's anything in this room whatsoever. Okay. Now what is it exactly I have to do now? Let me remember. Ah, right. I have to use that red ball. And that means going upstairs and investigating a machine that we might have previously glimpsed but had no immediate use for. The run actually seems a little more... Oop, nope, we don't want that. The run actually seems a little more responsive in Alone in the Dark 2 once you get the hang of it. It takes a little practice because the timing is different from Alone 1, but once you get the hang of it, it actually does seem to work better. Now, what do we have here? If I'm not mistaken, this is a Plinko board. I love Plinko. Well, it's actually a billiard ball, not a Christmas ornament. Well, I suppose when you're One-Eyed Jack, one is as good as another. Plinko! Yay, Plinko! Well, I suppose technically this would be a variation of Bagatelle, if I remember my old-timey games correctly, which I may not. Well, be it Bagatelle or Plinko, the most important thing is that it has a secret door built in. That's one of my favorite kinds of doors, but it's closed. Well, open it then, Carnby. Yeah, I suppose we've done that joke. We have a key. That's what we need. Uh-oh. We've walked into a trap.
By the horn of Beelzebub, the Flying Dutchman was calling me. It was like honey to a bee.
So the guy who's been narrating all these crew musters and such is actually the voice of One-Eyed Jack himself? Well, it is an appropriate bit of casting, I have to say.
The enemy wanted to put an end to it. Its cannons spouted death. No matter.
Ah, I do appreciate a good swashbuckling tale of the high seas.
My ship was sinking, but my praise bridge flowed with blood. On this Xmas Eve of 1724, the cries of pain filled the air like the most glorious of hymns. The captain, one Nichols, told me to go to the devil. He died cursing me. You will die by my sword, Jack!
Hint, 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 hint.
Ha ha! His sword remained stuck on the deck of his ship, the Flying Dutchman.
Well, thank you for stacking the hint there, One-Eyed Jack. Also, that seems like a really stupid thing. If you've been told that you're going to be killed by someone's sword, like as a prophecy, and you just leave it stuck on the deck of your ship, I mean, I suppose that's a way of swinging, like, some big fucking steel cannonballs around, but all the same, I don't know, I'd just take the insurance and chuck that shit into the ocean myself.
My lieutenants greedily burst the locks of the hold.
I believe the gentleman there in the gray and red coat is none other than Shorty Leg. You'll see why later.
The crew seemed disappointed with the loot, but I knew we had taken the finest of all treasures. And in Elizabeth's eyes, I could read our destiny, and death became an illusion.
Oh. I see. Elizabeth Jarrett must be. She's finally been brought properly into the story.
I signed the pact, and so did my men. The Dutchman was ours.
So Elizabeth Jarrett was being held in the hold of the Flying Dutchman before it belonged to One-Eyed Jack. Maybe being taken somewhere to stand trial or something like that, I don't know. And they have freed her, and that is when they signed the Immortality Pact and became the undead gangster Irish voodoo pirates that we all know and love.
From then on, thousands of legends were being told about the Flying Dutchman. We hid here in 1824, but the cliff collapsed on our ship.
And that, I suppose, is the tale of how they came to make their base of power in Hell's Kitchen.
And so our land flowed with blood, and we named our conquest Hell's Kitchen.
Like so.
A land with no past offered itself to us to guarantee our future.
Okay, I have to admit the image of Cowboy One-Eyed Jack there is pretty fucking cool. Especially with the shots that have clearly gone into his chest and he gives no fucks. Also, this could be considered kind of a foreshadowing of Alone in the Dark 3, but I don't know if that's deliberate or not. I don't know if AITD 3 was in development by this point or not.
We built our mansion, and since then, we reign undisputedly. Ha 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 ha!
I don't know, I like to think I've been raising a decent dispute of my own. My men will take you on our ship. You will meet the same fate as Grace. What fate is that, anyway? Speaking of Grace, she seems to have made a swift little escape. Clever girl. Also, something has always struck me weird about this. One-Eyed Jack presumably hasn't really aged in the normal way since signing the Immortality Pact, but his hairline seems to have receded quite a bit, unless he shaved it back to look cool or something. Anyway, it's a very good thing we have a nice curved lockpick, courtesy of one Mr. Sean O'Leary, Music Man. I don't know what would happen at this point if you hadn't collected the hook from defeating Music Man. I could only assume that you're completely screwed. Fortunately, we did. And we're free. Anything of interest anywhere around the room? No? Oh, okay. This just puts us right back out where we walked into the trap. Cool. So I wonder what's become of Grace at this point. Is she hiding somewhere in the mansion? Did she run out and manage to get to safety? I don't know. If I were her, though, I know I'd be headed for the front door. If I can find my way back to the front door. Okay, is this... No, that's the bathroom. Next door is DeWitt. Is this... No, I want to go down. I want to go down the stairs. Wow, I've gotten myself lost in a corridor. That's really impressive. Bear with me, folks. I know I'll get myself out of... There we are. Whew. Well, let's see if Grace has managed to get herself to safety, or if maybe she needs a little help out front. It's closed. Oh. I thought that's what I had to do at this point. There we go. I just had to position myself properly so I could get Vu done. And now, Carnby is marched off to his doom under the powers of voodoo. And we take control of Grace Saunders. And I hate this. Besides the very beginning of the game with the Hedge Maze, and imagine that we're actually at the Hedge Maze again, this is my second least favorite part of the game, because when you're playing as Grace, she is slow and sluggish, and it's all stealth, and the stealth is kind of janky and doesn't work that well. So this is definitely a point at which you're going to want to save. Oh no, it's the Grace part. As you can see, she walks very slowly, and when she runs, all she does is skip along in her bare feet, which seems like a terribly bad idea. She still has an alarming face, as per the Jack-in-the-Dark polygon model. And with our open and search, we also have a push option. With open and search, we can do some actions. We can go nya nya nya. We can wave our arms back and forth. We can stomp our feet. And we can go for the mighty shin kick, which does nothing to anybody. We just have to stay out of trouble. So what we need to do is we need to hustle to the back of this car. Get ourselves hidden inside. And that'll be our first step. Fortunately, that guy won't come out and try and catch you until you actually get in the car. That's what activates him to spawn. And for some reason, in the trunk of the car, there's a billiard ball. Well, I guess we might as well take it. He's gonna drive all of maybe 30 feet and do a sweet spin out. And we will make our escape. And right there on the gazebo doing his dance is Mr. I. And keeping watch over him are his look boys. He has some basic moves, just like a hop and a moonwalk and a spin. But the official guide for Alone in the Dark 1 and 2, which is very celebratory about the second game, makes a big deal out of how Mr. I is like the smoothest dancer ever to grace a monitor. That's just adorable. Now this is probably the single most important, well it is important, but probably the single most annoying stealth section here. You have to kind of time your run past the look boys in order to grab an item that is just to the right of Mr. I. And the engine is really under stress from the 4 characters in the car here, so it's really quite difficult to time correctly. So we just kind of have to hustle and hope for the best. Oh, I've been caught. and we get to witness a new game over screen, with Carnby being hung from the mast while the pirates all have a party. And I actually do know the music that is being played there while Carnby is being paraded in his misfortune. That is an Irish drinking song called Garryowen. Appropriately enough for a band of Irish pirates who'd like to do their share of drinking at a drinking party. So I think I moved a little too far to the left there, and may have also had the timing wrong. What we need to get is that yellow object there. A hook, that's what we want. Yep, Grace is going to need that too. And now we back away. And now we go back around the car. And I think I'm basically out of trouble. So now let me check my notes. What you have to do here is not super obvious, and I want to make sure I have it all right. By the way, this whole section between Carnby getting captured and a secondary Grace segment that we'll be seeing in a little while. Did I say segment? I meant segment. This is all exclusive to the CD-ROM version of the game. What I'm doing right now isn't on the disc version at all. I guess they needed to trim just a little bit of space. Okay, so we go back around to the back of the car and walk left. Oh man, the engine is really chugging. Grace is super hard to control right now. Not entirely positive of what I'm doing here. So I want to make sure I don't wander off into the wrong place and get myself killed. Because it's really quite easy to walk out of where the game considers out of bounds and get yourself caught. Okay, we want to walk away from what appears to be a tree door, but we can't actually go into. And we want to walk down a path to the right. Okay, so far so good. And now we go to a golf hole. We drop our billiard ball in for a little cheaty hole-in-one, which makes a statue appear. Oh, the game is running so much smoother now without so many characters and objects on screen. Oh shit, I fucked up. Yep, I've attracted a look boy. This is why we save early save often during the gray segment. Ah, the stealth is so janky. Okay, so I haven't actually put the ball down yet, right? Okay, we walk away from the tree door. We walk down the path to the right. When we go back, we're going to walk to the left, it looks like. I'll try and keep that in mind this time. And this time we save so I don't mess it up again. Okay, I'm walking straight for the statue. That's going to work, right? We're going to walk left? I think we're going to walk left. Okay, we are approaching the statue, it appears. And this is why we needed that hook from By the Look Boys. Shit, wrecked. But this time we're actually supposed to get wrecked.
I was caught out. The witch twisted a puppet resembling my features. Unbearable pain nailed me to the ground, and I was wondering how I could pull myself out of this mess. I had to gain some time. Fortunately, Elizabeth Jarrett was talkative. Grace threw a cheering glance at me.
Well, it sounds like they certainly got the same voice actor for Carnby back from the first game. I guess that's cool. Thank you for the update, Edward.
More than 2 centuries ago, Elizabeth Jarrett arrived in Haiti.
Got a little hiss on your microphone there, Liz.
I was then an innocent young girl. But Cotton, my tutor, taught me contempt. In hiding, a slave of his taught me to ride the shadows.
And so, a young Elizabeth Jarrett was initiated into voodoo.
Soon, the slave grew stronger than the master.
I gotta say, Liz, that's a pretty shitty way to say thank you.
Cotton felt the extent of my revenge and became my creature.
Holy fuck, what did Cotton do to you?
The soldiers took us prisoner, but could they recognize Cotton?
Well, perhaps it's just as well that I don't know, but whatever Cotton did to you, whatever you did to Cotton is clearly, scary enough to completely freak out the soldiers, and they probably can't even tell who he is if the text is any indication.
From then on, the Flying Dutchman was my jail.
I like the old-timey spelling of jail there.
I could see the desk where the captain hid the duplicate to the iron's key.
Hint, hint.
My spirit wandered. One-Eyed Jack heard my call for help.
Ah, and so that's why the Flying Dutchman he said was calling to him like honey to a bee, as strange an analogy as that is.
My soul guided him, and death is my ally.
Well, I guess that's why you get to be called, an arm of the evil powers.
He and his crew would become immortal, and every 100 years, an innocent girl would turn old for us. A gust of freedom freshened my jail.
Oh dear. And there it is. Now we know why they want Elizabeth Jarrett. Or not Elizabeth Jarrett, this is Elizabeth Jarrett. Now we know why they wanted Grace Saunders and what's in store for her, and it's pretty awful. And apparently they have to do this every 100 years, but, you know, it would be pretty easy to dodge a paper trail from one century to the next, even if you're doing like a string of kidnappings. And with that, we've had our double dose of villain exposition. Carnby says, go find the key to the irons to free me, and this is where the second Grace Saunders part that actually is included on the disc version begins. But that is where today's episode is going to end. And that is where we're going to pick up next time, because I see it is now about the 50-minute mark, and we're about to start a new stretch of the game, and that seems like a very good time to do that. Alright then. Thank you as always for watching, I do appreciate it, everybody. Next time, we will pick up in the shoes, or lack thereof, of young Grace Saunders, and see if we can find a way to get Carnby out of his chains here. And that will be bringing us in toward the later part of the game, and so next time we might actually finish up too. We'll see how it goes. Take care, everybody. Hope to see you then, and until that time, this is Sun, signing off. Today's villain backstory double feature has been brought to you by Justin Carpenter, Nolden, Zangamarth, Anonymous Benefactor, John Madigan, Sanguine Games, Misha Van Doren, Frank Grizzy, Tim J., Lolo De Puzzlo, Joshua C. Ritchie, Jared C. Rice, Sonic Rose, EX Potemkin, Mechasaurus, DG Jono, Doug Russell, Dodecalope, Jirogue, Martin Challenmakers, Mayo the Hedge Fox, Hildegard Argomach, IGV, Jazel, Joseph Hall, Dan Larson, K. Ivan Rupert, Tiny Shopkeeper, Kikoskia, Kobo4231, Yuka Takeuchi Fan, Chaotic Narrative, Mystery Accent, Lakota, Mei Yanling, Renaman, Fate Everywhere, TJA, Sparkaziah Levzer, Super Pervert 69, Zero, Bueller13, Pixel Goat, Azael, welcome to the shoutout tier, and if I'm mispronouncing your name, please do let me know in a comment or in a patron message or whatever suits you. Cillion, welcome. Rio, welcome back. Revenant Wings, welcome. And other expounding patrons. Thank you all so much. I'm having one of those days where I'm feeling a little reflective about all the support people have shown me, and really humbled and kind of blown away by it all. It kind of bends my brain that so many people think enough of my game-related ramblings to materially help me get from month to month, and I am extremely grateful. Subscribers, commenters, and everyone who's just quietly watching and enjoying, your support means a lot to me too. Enthusiasm, kind words and thoughts, funny observations, they're all motivational and very much appreciated. Take care everyone, stay safe, may the world treat you kindly, and I'll see you again soon. Hello out there, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've had a good time, and I've been glad to have you. If you enjoyed this video, new subscribers always brighten my day, and if you really dig my stuff and would like to support me on Patreon, I shall be very grateful indeed. You're also invited to go with the stream every Friday at twitch.tv/unplayedathing. Thank you again, and have a good one.